Jen proposed that we do this session. Chris and I had a brief call beforehand, and he made a really good suggestion. He said, look, you've been talking a lot of theory about, big ideas about Gov 2.0. I'm the guy who has to actually build it, and that's really going to be the focus of our conversation. Like, what does it really mean when all these new ideas meet the reality of government? But before we go into that conversation, I just wanted to share one or two ideas about this, of what Gov 2.0 means. And somebody, let me find this quote here, who read a tweet that I did about CityCamp. A guy named, Fraser Kinnear sent me a quote from Noam Chomsky. And he said, in a democracy, April 15th, when you pay your taxes, should be a day of celebration. Here we've gotten together as a community, we've decided on certain policies, and now we're moving to implement them by our own participation. Obviously, that's not the way it's viewed today, right? But that is, I think, the heart of what we're going for. We're trying to rediscover what it means. I mean, government is something we invented for a reason. It's better than the alternative. There's so many things. It's easy to focus on technology, but how many people here are glad that we don't have dirt roads? How many people are glad that the garbage gets collected? How many people are glad that we don't have people throwing their slops out the windows as they used to in old London? There's a lot that government does for us, and that's what I mean by government as a platform. Government is actually a vehicle for us as citizens getting together to get stuff done, and technology is just the latest opportunity for that. So, it's how do we build the stuff that we collectively want and need? And so with that perspective, what are you building in San Francisco that we need?
Well, one of the lessons that I've learned over my 8 to 9 years within San Francisco is that we can't do everything. And we're not going to try to do everything. And really what we're trying to do is enable, empower, using those wonderful words, citizens to do things that, quite frankly, we just can't get done. And Data SF is one of those ideas. You've seen examples from other cities, but what we're trying to do is just get that data out there and let people who are better, faster, cheaper at creating the applications that we just can't get done, empowering them to do that. And not necessarily a new thing these days, but we're trying to take it a step further, and we have done executive orders requiring departments to put it out there. It's Mayor Gavin Newsom's vision or dream that every data set will be out there, and let me tell you, when you go to a department head meeting, and he has the list of departments that have or have not released their data sets, and you're called on the carpet in front of your 50 peers, because we have a very large organization in CityCamp in San Francisco, it makes a difference. And so you really need somebody who gets it, and if it's the mayor, that's great. If it's the board of supervisors president, which we're a city and a county, that's even better. You get all of this stuff going, and you demand it, and you force people to do it, and bureaucrats like me, and we get it done. That's kind of one of the first things we're doing.
So Chris, when you talk about those meetings and the public shaming, so to speak, when Gavin is saying, hey, here are the people who've done it, here are the people who haven't yet, is there resentment?
Absolutely.
And, has it created, how have you dealt with that cultural issue, so that people aren't just sort of backbiting in corners? And, how many people, has there been a change, I guess, and what have you done to make people start to feel better about it?
We're doing what this organization or what these groups or these unconferences do. You find pockets of innovation, of excitement, of, quite frankly, new, innovative people in city government, and you nurture those because they are so valuable in government. When you find those, and you build them, and you support them, and you do everything you can so that over time you build kind of an army, a grassroots network, if you will, of people, and you start building and supporting applications or approaches, or you change the way government is done, and pretty soon you've got a momentum going, and you make it indispensable, and then you make it politically indispensable, so that services are actually being provided, and you can't stop it. fact, it would be really horrible because people like it. And suddenly that gets translated into elections and people's platforms and what they say to get elected. And it all starts with kind of building that grassroots level of support and letting it go. Now, it also helps that San Francisco has a mayor who gets it, who's been pushing me for years to do a lot of things. And he's out there, and he is fearless. He is absolutely willing to take any risk possible to push the envelope and to push us out of our comfort zones.
So, when I think about this metaphor of government as a platform, you started with this idea that we can't do everything. But there's also kind of, to me, an idea that you shouldn't do everything. Because in fact, we have this issue with government is becoming too large. It's now 40% of the economy at all levels. We have a big backlash, voter backlash that we just saw in Massachusetts. It seems to me that the platform idea is one that, really says, hey, government should be figuring out what are the infrastructure level things that enable the marketplace. So Apple writes the platform for the iPhone. They write a few signature apps that show what can be done and are core to the functionality of the device. And then the market writes 100,000 more. And when you think about San Francisco, where's the dividing line between what you think this is what we have to provide and this is what the citizens are going to do, or what we're going to help the citizens to do for themselves?
Yeah, quite frankly, I don't know that there is a dividing line. I think my vision, my thought is that everything can be out there, because I don't want to be in the place of deciding.
Yeah.
I want our public, our citizens, the people we serve, to make that decision. Certainly, when it comes to public safety and some of those things, the line is a little clearer. But when it comes to DPW and fixing potholes, that old example, the fact that we're allowing people to use Twitter in order to communicate to our 311 center and show pictures. We're talking about Open 311 working with... But
there's a really good example. I mean, fixing potholes, the old model would be, we have to have inspectors. We can't get to them all because the inspectors can only get to so many streets. You go, oh, what a great idea. If the citizens can just report it, we're going to put in this infrastructure layer, whether it's, we're going to use an outside service like Fix. We have to adopt Open 311 so that, other cities can all use the same kind of infrastructure. Whatever, those are kind of platform decisions that make it possible for the government not to do the inspection part, which is better for the citizens to do. And, but then the question is, well, would you, for example, take it further and say, well, we're going to actually have pothole fixing meetups, or would you say, no, the city is going to make the decision. We're going to let the citizens report, but we'll still fix it.
Well,
how do you have those discussions?
You probably have a difference in opinion between me and the Director of Public Works. I would actually agree with you that we should not be afraid of having citizens go and do that. He would argue that there are all kinds of standards and rules and regulations that prevent that. I think the point, though, is let's push the envelope and let's have that conversation. And if in the end it is the DPW approach that wins, then it has. But we've had the conversation and people have a better understanding of why.
Well, I would actually tend to agree that city fixing the potholes is a good division of labor. People would generally prefer the uniform quality, but the reporting, cities should just get out of that business.
But I think the whole point of this is to have the discussion, to have a meaningful discussion, at a much more granular level, so people can really help government make those decisions. Yeah, it would seem appropriate for that, but who knows? Maybe there is a way to do it. I mean, San Francisco, we've got a huge budget, $6.5 billion. We're a city and a county. We are projected to be in deficit $522 million of a $1 billion discretionary fund. Every department, including my department, are being asked to cut 30% across the board. So in my case, that's $21 million of technology spend in the city.